Good morning, everyone. It's Thursday. February 2nd. Sorry for the delayed start, but I think you'll be happy to know that all tech earnings, or at least Meta, have reported bigly in the green. Everything is up super green in pre-market. I think up.
Sound a little sick. Opinion, you alright?
Oh, yeah, sorry about that. Didn't realize I was muted and you guys missed my beautiful intro.
We heard it.
Oh, yeah, thank you.
I was worried about your health, is what I'm saying.
Oh, no, just all good here. Thank you very much, though. Are you guys... tell me about the health of your portfolio. Anyone who's long must be doing very well today.
It's looking wonderful.
So my Fed fuck-up trade I had on with enough size that the puts that I tried to be smart about, trying to play for a reversal, and got totally blown up. Those got offset by the Fed fuck-up trade. You basically dollar down and precious metals up. So it's kind of conflicting because, like, I don't understand why the markets are rallying like they are, but I guess my portfolio is happy with it.
I don't think anybody does.
Yeah, I mean, Bed Bath & Beyond said they couldn't make $1 billion in interest payment, and they're up 25% in pre-market. So yeah, the markets don't make sense.
That seems to be the trend of like half of 2022 going into 2023 is what the fuck is going on?
So keep in mind that no guarantee, but often bear market rallies end with a bunch of shitcos pumping the hell for no reason.
Yeah, this is true. But I'm still bullish. I think you did a good job today, Opinion, with the background. As usual, today should be great. The job claims did come in. Scott, do you have more information on that? I believe it was down, right? You might be in the cornfields. But yeah, jobless claims are down, so excited about that. We'll see if the market holds up today.
I feel like he's definitely in the cornfield.
Well, no, I thought jobless claims are up. Like more people are jobless, right?
Yeah, wouldn't jobless claims being up being the good thing this time around? Like what they're going for?
Yeah.
Bullish.
So does someone have the numbers? Like somebody mentioned it just before we ended the previous call, but I thought they were up, which is a good thing.
Well, which is a bad thing, but good for the market, right?
I'm searching. Unless you guys have it, please feel free to post in the comments. Or
week ending January 28th, seasonally adjusted initial claims was 183,000. Oh, a decrease of 3,000 from the previous week of 186. So sorry, jobless claims are down by 3,000, but only slightly. The 4-week moving average was 191,750, a decrease of 5,750 from the previous week's unrevised average of 197,500. So sorry, jobless claims are down, which is bad for the market. Not bad. I mean, it's not that bad.
I mean, it's good for Main Street.
If you're capitalist.
It's bad for Wall Street. It's bad for inflation.
We're looking at the December data they just released, right?
Yeah, the date on this report is Thursday, February 2, 8:30 a.m. Eastern Time. It's on the Department of Labor .gov website, dol.gov.
Yeah, and projected was 200,000 on the street, is what it says on Bloomberg. So it was lower than expected. I just think these Meta earnings read through. I'm a Google shareholder for Alphabet for a long time, so I think that's even before the earnings, it's getting a sympathy run a lot, and as well as just the Nasdaq in general.
Yesterday was pretty wild, guys. I bailed out of the 399 puts on SPY right as FOMC came out, doubled down on my 410 calls. I know a lot of people in the chat did that as well. Not the WallStreetBets chat, another chat, but 10 baggers all around. And then at least one person said after that they were going to take the money and put it into meta calls. And whoever that is, you don't need to tell us who you are. You probably made so much money you don't want to let people know. But just for me, if your boss talks back to you, tell him he's a peasant and just move on.
I have a question. Actually, I'm not that guy, but I did actually buy a meta call yesterday, and I have a very small account. About a 160 call, and I'm wondering how I get out of this. So obviously I want to sell very early in the morning, but if I sell right at market open, am I going to like lose $500 on some stupid gap thing is kind of my question.
Yeah, the first few minutes of market open are normally pretty volatile. So what I would do is I would do a limit, right? If you have a price you want to sell it for, try to sell it for that price. This is just what I do. I'm not saying that necessarily you need to do this, but what I do is I just set limits, and if they close in those first few minutes of high volatility, great. If not, I'll take the haircut and just sell it whatever the price is later.
And can I reasonably depend on the delta numbers that if I have a 160 call, if I sell around the 183, I'll probably sell like I don't know, I think like $2,300 profit.
If you really want it to sell, cut a little of that profit off. If you want it to move quickly and actually sell at the price point that you're looking at in the market.
I mean, you're up so much, you can probably wait the couple minutes for the market to figure out those pricings, though, right?
What's meta and pre? Sorry, I'm like driving.
Up 19.38% pre-market at 182.79.
Yeah, so it doesn't look like it's lost any momentum from after the earnings call yesterday. It's staying there. Sorry, Rad.
And the trend line is slightly up as well, so it might even go up a little bit more pre-market. So,
but regardless, he said it's a 160 call, so like he's so up that he can probably wait a little bit for the market to figure it out and not have an issue.
Yeah, it's not going to drop down to 160, that's for sure.
Oh, hell no. There was several resistances between 171 and 174, and that band of resistance is now turned into a support. So I would expect that if it does come back down, that it will settle into that 170 range, which is still well above his 160 strike.
Well, yeah, but I don't want to lose $1,000 on waiting 3 minutes.
Well, right, yeah, no, absolutely not, right? But like that's why, what Rad was saying was maybe cut it down slightly from that 2,300. But also, as soon as the market opens, people will start immediately pricing that in. That's the reason that you see so much volatility in the options chain in the first few minutes of trading.
And to carry this thought forward in general, basically the first 10 minutes and the last 10 minutes of the trading day, you're getting the worst price as a retail trader. So the bid ask is so wild those last few minutes and those first few minutes. It goes on both ends of the day.
If I were you personally, I think I would just say I want to make at least X amount of dollars out of this. And I would just set that as like, that's my stop. That's where the option's being sold. And whatever it opens at, I don't really care. Like if it's well above there, then I'll figure that out from there. But I'm just going to say I'm at least getting this many dollars out of this trade. So that's what I'm going to set it to. And then the first few minutes can figure itself out.
Yeah, that's how I normally think. But I feel like if I like set a stop loss, I'm just going to get dinged on the stop loss when it spikes down by, I don't know, 5 points or something right at open.
I mean, as long as you set it at a price that you're happy to take the money, then you got the cash you wanted. You can't think about, could I have gotten more? You're going to drive yourself crazy that way.
True. No, yeah. I'm not trying to think about more. I'm just trying to not lose 500 on the volatility.
I don't remember who said it a few days ago, but like it's the ex-girlfriend problem. Don't look back. Like sell, be happy with the money you took, and just don't look back at the at your options and kind of think what could have been.
Or boyfriend for those that have boyfriend, ex-boyfriend.
Yes.
We see you
Or
out there.
ex-boyfriend.
Yeah, and ultimately, a lot of what you're asking here is like, this is sort of the art of it, right? That it's going to be at the whim of the market during those first few minutes, and like try to get the execution that you want, right? And you're either going to get it or you're not. That's really what's going to happen. So, best of luck, man. I believe in you.
Thank you. I appreciate you guys' help.
Yesterday's rally made me sick. It was disgusting.
Are you still short on things?
Absolutely.
Oh, my friend.
It's a fraud. That's
Me
what it
too,
was.
buddy.
I want J Powell to open his mouth so I can spit in it.
Well, I hate to tell you this, but
Wow.
Exotonic Phil saw his shadow, so that means 6 more weeks of bull market.
I know, and the stupid groundhog.
It
Can
sounds
we
like
go back to that? Can we go
Can't
back
you
to
just
that
like sell out
FOMC?
and just get back in? Come on.
At least Jim Cramer said he's bullish. I got that going for me.
Like all my
He was-
stocks are up no matter how bullshit they are, and all my options are down no matter
Yeah,
how
all
no
I
matter
know
how
is
logical the trade was. My options are down, my stocks are up.
if I know Carvana is ripping, I'm all good. I'm all good as a bear. If I know Carvana is ripping, if that talent company is ripping as well,
Carvana.
I'm doing good.
What's going on with Carvana over there? Like, I had calls at one point and I sold them for a massive loss. Like, I should have fucking held on to them. But what's going on with that?
Nothing. It's the same old, same old. Bankruptcy, fraud,
So-
CEO cooking the books. Same old, same old.
So if you're going to look at a stock like Carvana, right, and say what's going on with this, don't look at it in a bubble. Compare it to other similar shit stocks, right? Like look at like a Bed Bath & Beyond, things like that. And if you see that they're all kind of up, the answer is there's nothing with Carvana. The whole market's just being stupid, right?
Sympathy
So
myth.
the best way I can
Buy put.
describe Carvana is it's a vegetable on life support and the family refuses to pull the plug.
That's so true on so many levels.
Yeah, someone asked me earlier today. They were like, "I got $3 puts on Bed Bath & Beyond," and I'm like, the problem with that is people are profoundly retarded. So there's a possibility that Bed Bath & Beyond pumps because people are stupid, and that's just the kind of thing that you'll see in the markets.
Also, I keep saying this to people, but the more y'all load up on your Bed Bath & Beyonds and your Carvana puts, the more upward pressure you're creating. Like, I know it's a silly thing to think, but like you're almost making it go up if you keep doing it.
Yeah, just as a little update, a while back ago, I bought Hershey's, what was it, 210 puts for May 23rd. And today Hershey's reported sales are up, stocks up, I think, about 4%. So I'm probably going to pull the plug on that trade, take out whatever I can.
Can we just agree that we should pull out the plug just for like the next couple of weeks? That'd be great. That's kind of cool. Thank you, Letter Day, for that.
I can get it.
Did we talk about Meta?
And he has
Ah,
been
we summoned him.
summoned. Simple
Oh
life.
yes,
course,
Meta. Man, Meta jumped. Oh my God, Meta. If anybody had puts on Meta, man, come in and talk, please. Because Meta jumped to, what is it, 180, above 180?
20%.
180.
But was
Man,
that one of
I've
the
come
companies
here-
you didn't get puts on?
I've come here to talk shit about everybody because everybody was telling me and Luz that we were losing money. Fuck Meta, it's going down, it's terrible. Stock, yada yada yada.
oh,
I mean, you were losing money. You lost
Let me
a
be
lot
the
of money
first
last
to
year.
Yeah, man. We said when it was at 220, we said it was going down below 120, and then it went down to $88, and we said it was a buy at that price. And then if you bought at that price, you doubled your money. I mean, congratulations if you got it at that price.
simple. Talk
Yeah,
to Skull here.
I'm sure it's called. You done that, huh? Can you prove that you done that?
Well, we've got the recordings.
No. I want you to show me the positions.
Yeah, we do. We got the receipts.
Yeah, I want to see
Oh
the
man,
receipts.
I didn't buy at $88, man. I
He
didn't get
said
in
if
that
you
low,
buy.
but that's
He
what we
said
were
if you
talking
buy.
about. Yeah, I
Yeah,
said
yeah,
if
yeah.
you buy.
If you bought this, if
But
you
we were
bought that.
talking about how that was a good price. If you were buying puts at Meta at $88, you're retarded.
Yeah, but the thing is, my main point was always, if you buy a company that's producing a shit ton of money, it doesn't matter the price. The macros don't matter. They really don't. Like, sooner or later, it's gonna go up. It took what, 5 months to go to almost like $200 per share. Like, it's everybody was talking shit. The amount of
Taking a page out of
articles.
Warren Buffett's book.
No, but like, I'm serious now. The amount of articles on Reddit on investing on WallStreetBets, like Meta is a trash. Meta is going down. Nobody uses Facebook. Like, it's all redundant. Fuck this. Fuck that. It's dead.
I still
So
think.
how much are you up, Simple, on your Meta
No,
position?
now I'm like down like 8%.
I still think Meta is a.
Yeah, it's fine.
I still think Meta is an interesting play. I don't think it's easy to like really put a full like rating on it yet, personally, because they have a lot forward-looking plans that I don't think have really been ironed out. But they're definitely something that you should put inside your portfolio because they have a lot of R&D. And but I don't know. Go ahead.
Simple. Can you please tell the class why Meta went up 20%?
For a lot of reasons. Oh wait, I don't know if you can hear the Slack.
The
Wait, give me
biggest
a second.
one is that they have a $40 billion share buyback. What's unclear to me is over what period of time and where they're getting the $40 billion from, because they only have $14 billion cash in their balance sheet.
Is Elon Musk buying Meta too?
That's what I was gonna say. They're borrowing it from you.
They haven't
No,
completed.
I have no doubt that they will actually fulfill the $40 billion purchase, but clearly they can't do it with cash on hand, which means they're raising debt at what presumably are current interest rates.
They still have their last share buyback program open. They still have like 10 billion on that. So
I don't know. I think it's to replace the 10 billion. I haven't read the full filing yet, but that's my current thesis.
no, I don't think they didn't say anything about wiping it out from what I saw. So they're gonna have both open.
So $50 billion in purchasing liability or purchasing requirements from Meta against $14 billion of cash. It's like $16 billion or $13 billion in accounts receivables.
They do have. Sorry, Hardy.
And a not so meaningful amount of marketable securities, some of which may be treasury stock.
Yeah, I'm looking at it right now, Hardy. It's U.S. government securities, U.S. government agency securities, and corporate debt securities at $27 billion.
So where does the remaining $13 billion come from?
I think it was a filing from last year.
So my point is, this was a huge spike on the news, and as people start digging into how Meta is going to pay for this, it may end up causing a drift back down toward like the 150 level. So I'm opening a strangle, a 120-day strangle on Meta at the money in anticipation of this revelation.
What?
I'm back. So what I wanted to say is,
hold on. What prices are you looking at trying to get those contracts for, Hardy?
Haven't looked at it yet. I still need to see how the market prices the Ivy Crush. But I intend to enter some form of strangle, probably a combined delta of, or rather each leg will be 25 or 30 delta, somewhere in that range.
so the way I see it, why it went up is the main story always with Meta was, I mean, the last couple of earnings was the daily active users growth is stagnant, like they hit the wall, and it turns out they didn't. The Q4 revenue also went above the expected, which proves they can earn money even in this environment, which is not good for marketing companies in a way.
They did that at the expense of their margin, though.
Yeah, but I also and there's also a couple other things. So I mean, we all know they sacked 30% of their workforce, and that's gonna cause a lot of. I need to calculate it how much money that's actually gonna save them in the long run, and also capex went down. Capex went down by a lot. It went down like 5 or 4 billion a year, which is a big reduction. The last couple of Qs, they went hard in AI. We already discussed about it, and with data centers. And I think this year is gonna be a conservative year for Facebook as a business. I don't think we're gonna see a lot of moves.
I agree with you on that. In fact, that's kind of what they've announced, right? Zuckerberg said it's going to be the efficiency year. So it's all about cutting costs. But I mean, even as we've been speaking, I heard someone a little bit earlier say, don't bet against Meta because of all their R&D, which is true. It's a good tech company with a lot of good R&D going on. But they did, like you said, just fire 30% of their staff, which means that they're really going into kind of an austerity mode, which means they're probably not going to be growing as fast. They're probably not going to be pushing out new products as fast. It means that kind of that future earnings potential is going to get hampered, or is potentially hampered by that, by all these austerity measures that they're taking to reduce cost right now so that they can keep their books looking good.
How is that possible, considering the vast majority of their ads business is automated? The only human component of the ads business was the compliance team, who would approve or reject ads. And even then, a good chunk of them were sacked. It's a lot easier to run Black Hat on Facebook today than it was about 2 months ago.
For those of you that don't have access to some of those tasty resources like Capital IQ or Bloomberg, I posted the SEC link to marketable securities in the comments section.
The sole value of, I mean, I know a couple of people in Facebook, and Hardy also knows them. And what they told me is people that are getting fired, at least in Europe, are bullshit positions. I don't know one developer that got fired, a good one.
A moderate amount of Eng got fired, but I agree. The groups that had the layoffs were largely outbound recruiting, and then internal, like admin and support type roles.
Gotcha. Well, that definitely changes my thesis on like the effect of the firing then, because if it's just like intake and customer service, then that's a very different game.
Yeah, I need to calculate how much money they're gonna save with 11,000 employees gone, with all the compensation packages that they offer, because they're pretty big. I think it's gonna be upwards to $500 million.
As someone who used Facebook support this weekend, I actually got connected pretty fast, so I was actually pretty impressed.
I believe that's a Japanese regulatory requirement. Try it in the US. And in terms of the labor savings from the layoffs, keep in mind that Meta is paying out, I believe, anywhere from 3 to 6 months in severance. So let's average it out at 4.5. So that's at least 4.5 months where they're paying for people, paying their salaries, but not getting work out of them. So imagine.
I know, but in the long run, it's a huge save.
Oh, I agree. It shouldn't impact revenue or margin, but it'll take 4 to 6 months in order for those savings to start paying off.
But haven't they lost a lot of ad revenue and users though on the actual platform? Is that
No,
still correct?
ad revenue was higher than expected.
And the number of users is higher than expected.
Yeah, I agree with you a lot on that. Simple. The whole user thing is kind of a dead story, and I've been a hater on Meta, so I'm giving you props on that. They definitely broke through on that, and I think the austerity or the efficiency that he led with, that was just him listening to the street. And I think they'll wait the 3 to 6 months for that to roll off, Hardy. I don't think the street's going to be impatient and say, I need to see it this quarter. It'll take a little bit of time, but they've quote unquote found religion and cut a few billion off the bottom line.
I think that's enough of me praising myself for the correct investment decisions that I made. We can move on to another topic.
It's not correct yet. You're still losing money.
Shut the fuck
How
up,
about
Weep.
BBBY being up?
I tried.
20%, right?
So I don't know if you guys saw the tweet about BBBY. I mean, it's pretty brilliant. Wait, let me pull it up. So the dude, his name is on Twitter. I know, no self-promotion. I'm not him. Dan Olson on Twitter. So this is what he said. BBBY is likely to declare bankruptcy sometimes this week or next. They have, of course, been warning shareholders about this for some time. The problem is that a substantial contingent of their shareholders believe BBBY has been talking to them in a code. To these shareholders, there is really no such thing as bad news. Wait, let me.
Sounds bullish.
Yeah, listen. There's no such thing as bad news. The company's free cash flow is massively negative for 14 consecutive months, with no big projection to show for it. This is good news because it's leveled out. They're not losing more each month than the previous one. The company's own financial statements, which they publish for the benefit of shareholders, show that the company is in dire strait, is losing money hand over fist, and has a massively negative net value. This is somehow bullish. The end result is that BBY is going to go bankrupt, and
Couldn't
a
you tell us
substantial
about
number of
Hertz?
shareholders. Yeah. Substantial number of shareholders are going to lose everything.
That sounds bullish.
I mean, man, that's so bullish.
It's
Clearly,
up
recession is
3% free
canceled.
market.
Loading up on calls today.
That's what I'm saying. It's
Not to
literally
mention
up
that the former
20%.
CFO of BBY killed himself like what 6 months ago or a year or so. That bad of a situation seems.
That was to save the
So-
company money.
So they say he killed himself.
Oh.
They say that.
Yeah, he did it so they didn't have to pay a severance.
That's
bullish.
They pushed him.
This dude hurt some feelings with these tweets.
So what happens if the company goes bankrupt and people are still holding a fuckload of shares? Does everybody just lose everything?
Yeah,
Yep.
the debt holders are paid back first, and the equity holders are then paid from what's left.
And the debt's literally trading for both Carvana and Bed Bath & Beyond for pennies on the dollar. Like literally debt that's running out next year, and they're paying 4 cents on the dollar. So
Yeah, but it went up.
Carvana balance sheet, their shareholder equity will be zero from the original IPOs and everything else. This financial statement, if they lose the same amount of money, which you're actually expected to lose a little more. So, yeah, shareholders will have nothing left. The bondholders have no secured debt with them, so that's why the bondholders aren't going after it anyway. It's going to be a slow and steady bleed out. They've got about 1,000 paper cuts right now. They'll eventually die, but they're making just enough cash to try to keep operating and try to keep a floor plan.
And then I said this earlier, they just missed $1 billion interest payment on their loans yesterday. They have a month to make it, but again, crazy bad news. Stock goes up 25%. It's only 20 now, but just to further your point, simple.
There is also another small group like Bed Bath & Beyond employers, not employers, the people working there. I don't know how to say that in English, and they miss their salary, like it's not on time. Some people didn't have it for they got it like day later or whatever, and again, there people are saying like, oh, that's nothing, blah blah blah, whatever. The backholders, of course. It's fucking brilliant. There needs to be a movie about the mental state of these people, like as a collective.
I think that would be called Rain Man, except they wouldn't be good at counting cards.
Well, I said earlier in this chat, I said you got to watch out for a pump because people are profoundly retarded. And I say it again. This is the people I was talking about.
Well, part of the concern is the reason why the previous pump worked so well is because of the stimulus payments. So I'm wondering to what extent, in the absence of those stimulus payments, there will still be retard buying.
Well, it is tax season, so
The Bed Bath & Beyond in my town is self-liquidating, and I suspect that they're not getting new product from suppliers. I mean, there's half the product in that store that there used to be. I don't know if anyone else has seen that.
I mean, if you're processing your end game, there really isn't much reason to keep buying new stock.
No, and they had news. They're going to close at least 74 stores. So they did say that in the last couple of weeks. I've got one here in Central Ohio too. They'll all be closed by the end of the year. That's not really. So again, buy the shares, right, Skull?
What
So-
about Macy's? What about Macy's? Do you guys think that's going to be going to see a JP Morgan? Sorry, not JP Morgan. JC Penney similar situation?
Wait. Let me add something more.
Can I tap in after you speak? I'm sorry.
Yeah, just one more thing. So the current theory right now going on is the merger is coming because, and guess this, that the BBBY gift card issuer moved their address to the same as West Point Homes of Icahn Company. So the company that is giving them the service of gift cards moved their address to where one of the thousands of Icahn companies is, and the merger is coming, boys. We're saved.
Yay.
Rising Wall Street bets. What it do? It's your boy Tuesday Fly. If I can speak, I'll speak. If not, I'll fall back.
Tuesday, hold on just 1 second. Simple.
Got it.
What is this we that you speak of?
I don't know. These people who keep saying that small word like W and E. I don't know what it means.
Okay, go ahead.
It's the royal we, all of us.
No. I think CPO research was first, then Tuesday. CPO, go
I
ahead.
think when he says we, he means we as he falls, like the CFO.
Well, I was just asking regarding Macy's. Do you guys think it's going to see a similar situation to what happened to J.C. Penney and it eventually turning into a penny stock and most of the stores closing? Or do you think there's a possible rebound? I was looking at puts a while ago. I'm just curious as to your guys' opinions.
I can speak on that.
Go ahead.
Okay. So remember yesterday I mentioned buying calls. I posted it on Macy's. And a gentleman said, why would you buy a brick and mortar? So to speak to why I believe they still have a little bit in the tank. I believe that the news from the other day pushed them. I also believe that Macy's is a staple. It's not like a Target. You know, it's the low level of the high end. So like if you kind of got money, you go to Macy's. So and so when the gentleman said, why would you buy Macy's? I doubled down and gosh damn it, I'm up 150%. As of yesterday, I posted it this morning. I'll try to cash out on the additional ride today. I'm trying to cash out about 225%. And that'll be a 1-day swing trade on Macy's. So I have some other plays, if you don't mind. I posted them in the chat. I did put BBY on there because of us. We're going to FOMO in. So let's make some money off of that. My other plays, you know, these are the pennies.
Did you say BBY or BBBY?
BBBY. My apologies. BBBY. I posted this into the chat like 8:30. GNS, ZVSA, RMTI. We're back with Apron. Of course, Carvana, CVNA. One of my favorites is TENX. And then I have a little bit of a tidbit. What I'm looking to do.
Tuesday, do you know
Yes,
what
sir.
Blue Apron does?
Makes me money at this point. I don't care about these
No.
companies. I mean,
What does it do?
it passes out fake food.
They're the Carvana of food.
Yeah, all right. That passes out fake food. So, and then my last one for you is KBNT. I'm looking for it to retest about $1.25 to $1.30, and then break out or hold around $1.50. So if you play the volume and buy a couple thousand shares, it looks like there should be a quarter right there this morning after the market opens and it takes its normal dip. And I will speak to calls. I am going to toot my horn again. I'm sorry. We'll just speak percentages since y'all like percentages over numbers. And I'd like to say I never meant to disrespect or jump on here. I got a little bit of Tourette's, so I spit some shit out that just don't make no fucking sense sometimes. So my apologies if I ever rubbed anybody the wrong way. But
I like Tourette's.
my man, here we go back to the calls that I'm up green. So I told you I'm already 5 for 5 this year. So basically I'm taking my 8 levels formula that I use on the penny stocks, and I'm going to make it to a 16 level formula. And so far I'm green. I spoke about Macy's. I bought a February 17th call for $24. And then I doubled down yesterday when I had the negative vibe. So I bought some more and I'm up, like I said, 150% this morning.
Yeah, what negative vibes?
You know, somebody was being negative. So I feed off that. So when you say, why you buy Macy's, I bought more. So I have rig calls May 17th at $8. I'm up $139 this morning. We have WBD February 17th, 1550 calls. That's up $221 this morning. And I did buy DBI. I am down, but I will double down on DBI February 17th calls for $10. And gold February 17th, 20.50 calls. That's up $13. And
Tuesday,
last,
nobody can follow you. You're going too fast. If you want
my
to put
bad.
your plays in the comments, but does anybody have like OBS or something? I'm willing to pay for the clip of him saying that somebody said something negative and he's gonna buy
Well, no,
more.
what I said, what was said was,
Somebody
why are you
clip
going to
that,
buy,
please.
why would you buy Macy's? It's a brick and mortar company, right? So
Someone
That was
said,
just a question.
Can I say something? To stay fly. Let me just
yes,
ask you
sir.
real quick. I know a lot of people have been asking why you've been like messaging them about your cool services, but yeah, just kind of low on that. I know if you feed off negative vibes, if people are negative about that, that doesn't mean increase your messages. Okay, just let
No,
you know
no,
that. But we do
fair
appreciate
enough.
your plays. We do appreciate your plays. Keep people's names out of your mouth, though. You know, let's represent yourself only. And yeah, I digress.
Well, okay, digress. But if you slide in my DM and you ask me for plays, all I did was just tell you to come over because I ain't got time to. There's like 10, 12 people
I
DMing me.
understand. I
You got
understand.
it.
I
So, but
understand.
no
But
worries,
there's
no
a lot of
worries.
people. I'm just saying, like, don't feed off negative. Like, don't feed
Let's
off
bury the
negative
Let's
hatchet,
vibes.
get this
guys.
money though. Nevertheless,
All right.
Yo,
Okay. Gotcha.
bury the hatchet. What
One
plays are
other
coming
play
up?
idea, really quick. DWAC, it's Digital World Acquisition Corp. Personally, I'm not bullish and bearish on it for a few different reasons. Have any of you guys been following that stock or with the situation regarding it? It's the company that was supposed to merge with Trump's Truth Social.
Yeah, we're aware.
What do you guys think of it?
Why is that not up with all the other shit stocks?
One at a time.
It's a
Don't
SPAC.
I swear to God, CPO sounds like a journalist, but like a real journalist. Like you're working for a company and now you want to publish our answers. Am I close?
We had another one yesterday. It's pretty funny. Anyhow,
He's asking a lot of broad questions about a specific shit stocks.
It's almost like he's
Let
working
me
for a
give
hedge
you the
fund.
perfect soundbite here.
Let me be a little bit more
I've got the
specific.
perfect soundbite for you.
What's your agent number?
All right, if I may, for just a moment, some details regarding DWAC is they've had
Hey,
two.
CPO. Hey, CPO.
Yeah.
Just real quick, we're just wondering what your agent number is or what your research specialty is. Like, you
Yes,
got a
please
magazine,
identify
you got a
yourself.
journalist. What do you got?
Oh,
Let's get back to plays.
yeah. I mean, if I told you, I'd have to kill you. Let's just say that.
No.
We all
But
have to
are you?
die.
Wait. Are you a professional in a field that might be correlated with this stock?
I mean,
Lying.
Do you have a serious
Sounds like
seven
he's
like
lying right now.
Bro, this guy,
He's a
this
bluffer.
guy's the
I fucking knew it.
CFO.
Like
Got him.
I
This
fucking
is the
knew it.
CEO of the company.
I can
all right,
sense
but
it from miles away.
either way, if I may continue for just a moment, the reason why I've been following DWAC and thinking about long-term puts in the company, right now the market cap's, I don't know, like 450 or 500 million or so.
Sorry,
Yeah,
but he didn't answer the question.
That's a good idea.
No, what was the question? Come on, don't kick our head.
You asked him where he works, and he said he had to kill me.
No, come on, he can't.
He's got like a
No,
He
that's a
can't
question.
say
That's a
All
that.
right, I'll
question.
bring him back up.
Yes.
He can't say that. Yeah.
Hey, I have something real to say real quick. Anybody watching the dollar right now?
Yeah, I got one in my hand.
We're not paying attention to the stock market. What's wrong with?
Yeah, dollar strengthening. I think people don't believe in this this rally. I think we're gonna get faked out today.
Rip my
good.
UUP, but actually it's all right. But sort of rip them.
I love a world where we're on the verge of Russia threatening nuclear war, still threats of recession, inflation everywhere, and the VIX is at 1750-ish. So, guys, don't worry, all's good in the world. We do
I
not.
welcome all these bearish talk.
We do not have.
Yeah, what is the VIX doing, bud?
The VIX futures are at 1833, and the VIX was ended the day yesterday at 1730. So no more irritable Powell syndrome. We're done with it. I am looking for SPY to be at 421, or actually, yeah, SPY to be around 421 by Monday. And by the 17th before OPEX, I'm looking for SPY to hit around 432. It'll bounce back and forth around between end, but I think we're going to have a couple green rally days, kind of like we had with when CPI came in so low that we jumped, 2.5%. So I'm looking for that type of movement. I think we retest 409 first. I think people are going to be scared of Google and other Apple and those other reports, but they're going to come through with flying colors because they were set so low.
I have a question for Hardy. Were you able to get out that SPY call yesterday?
I didn't enter the SPY calls. I just entered the SPY puts prior to.
Oh, that's right. I
Jay's
mean the
speech.
puts. You're correct. The 401 put. Were you able to get all the way out?
Yeah, I hit my double, so I already everything beyond that was free rolled, and then I got my win from that.
Good shit. Good shit.
Feel free to listen to the recording. Everyone else who's here. This will next happen at the next FOMC announcement in roughly 6 weeks.
Yeah, I was able to get out mine fully. I only bought 3 puts at the 402, and I was, by the grace of God, they all sold. So thank you. Appreciate that.
CPO, if you want to come back up, you got to raise your hand. I don't see you on here. Kind of funny that Simple Vice left when you left. So, but I digress.
Simple's still here. I drove my phone, for fuck's sake.
Okay, there you go.
Yeah, I don't think that's simple.
He's back.
He came back.
Company HPCO has some news this morning. I don't know if it's relevant to anything, but HPCO, I don't know. You might want to check them out.
What was the news?
It was a partnership with entertainment icon Calvin Brodus, Snoop Doggy Dogg. About some distribution. I may probably weed distribution, but this is tobacco on here. But nevertheless, buy the hype, sell the news, see what they do. Just check it out.
Empeco Company.
Just got some insight that PayPal is pumping. Quite interesting. It seems like it's correlating with Tesla a little bit this morning. So should be an interesting morning.
Okay, guys, I got one. It might not be so harebrained, but I got to play. Sirius XM, SIRI is the ticker. I'm looking at getting into either straddles or strangles. I don't know the proper definition. Like someone will be able to tell me, but I'm buying $5.50 puts and $6 calls. So what would that be? Would that be a straddle or a strangle?
That's a strangle.
Okay, so yeah, I'll be strangling Siri.
Siri or Sirius?
Yeah, that was serious.
Well, Siri is the ticker, SIRI.
Why are you doing a strangle on Sirius XM?
Because it was going to bounce off of its low, but it had a rebound yesterday during the Fed. So I'm looking at trying to take in volatility, because if you look at it, it's for being what it is, it bounces a lot between $5 and $6. So I want to take advantage of that.
They just reported earnings this morning. Did you know that?
They did? Was it good?
No, they're down 4%. So that's why I'm saying.
Oh, awesome. So
I swear to God, every time they start new
Every
time they start new strategies, they fucking make money, and they're always like, "Oh, this company had earnings. Oh, they have a new product. Well, what do you know?" Every fucking time, man.
Guys, why am I up 500% today? I don't know.
He's definitely had a good track record. I agree with you, Rad.
I do have a play. This was mentioned in one of the other calls. The ticker is DUFRY, Delta Uniform Foxtrot Romeo Yankee. These are the duty-free shops. This is a play on, instead of playing individual airlines, this is a play on travel in general. As countries begin to open up from COVID and that kind of stuff, and travel starts increasing, especially with the summer and spring break travel seasons, you're going to see increased activity at airports and the duty-free shops. Prior to COVID hitting, they were trading around $10 a share. Right now, they're down to around $4.90 something a share. And once travel picks up again, I expect them to probably go back up to around the $10 a share mark. Somebody else, like I said, somebody else brought this up, and it seems like a pretty good play with events that are going on right now. And instead of playing one single or a couple of airlines, this is probably a good bet. It's a Swiss company, so they're very good with money management and making sure that they have a profit. They're very strict about that, and they're very tightwads about that. There's no options available in the U.S. It's traded on the Swiss exchange. But yeah, that's why I'm going to go into that one with travel increasing again.
Yeah, all Swiss
Always the
companies,
Swiss.
including Credit Suisse, are really good at being profitable.
What about on that travel play? What about looking at Diageo if you're talking about?
Can you speak up a little bit?
Sorry about that. Talking about Diageo, it's the liquor sales company. They sell like Lagavulin, stuff like that.
Do you have a ticker on that?
DEO, $100 billion market cap.
That might be a good one to go along with that.
I've owned it in the past. They're based out of England. With China reopening, that's pretty bullish for them. They've got a pretty good, what they consider their premier labels. They sell like crazy in the casinos and when they're actually out and about.
Do they ever do any like special dividends or anything? It seems like the kind of company that would.
I don't know about DEO, but DUFRY, I didn't see a dividend on their profile.
No, I wouldn't touch that duty-free trade with the 10-foot pole. I'm just talking about Diageo.
Yeah, it says the yield right now is 2%, but I haven't owned it in years, so I couldn't speak to any special dividends without reading all the reports. But usually companies like that pay a steady dividend.
Nine minutes till open. Anybody got any plays they want to talk about? Or thinking of buying any calls? Because it seems we're pumping still. Amazing.
So what's your counter on that duty-free play? Why wouldn't you touch it? Just curious.
Every time I go into an airport, I look at that store and think, wow, that was probably a big deal like 30 years ago. I mean, I couldn't see myself ever really shopping there. I've tried. God knows I've tried. I've walked in many times, but I've always been like, I don't want to lug this around, or this price is not that competitive. I don't know. It doesn't seem like the kind of store that I would want to lead my retail thesis on.
Well, it's not a retail thesis. It's just travel opening back up again thesis. And people are drawn to shiny things.
People are distracted by shiny things.
Yes.
I have a question. Do you pay? Is the duty free a thing over in like Europe when you buying handbags?
Yes.
Oh yeah, so I'm bullish on that.
They carry handbags too, and that's the other stuff. They carry like, it's not just liquor. They have
Right.
like all kinds of products. They have jewelry. They have like all the high end jewelry and stuff that you normally have to pay 5 to 10 to 15, sometimes even 50% duties on, you can get some of that stuff cheaper. The liquor, not so much, but
I would be bullish on that for travel opening up when it
but
comes
the purses and watches and stuff like that, the luxury items, all day long.
Yeah, those gonna sell big. Yeah, I think I'm bullish on that in regards to.
Well, I also contemplate that the next 12 to 24 months are going to be much harder than the past, like basically 2021 or much of what's happened in the past, decade or so. So I think that, white collar recession, I think generally speaking, you'll see compression of buying at the top end as well as the recession starts to take hold.
That's the opposite. Luxury items generally do pretty well in a recession because like food prices and gas prices going up is water off a duck's back when it comes to the higher end consumers. They don't care about a 10, 15, 20% increase in the price of that. Right? It's the recession and things like that don't really hit higher income people the way that it hits lower income people. And it's usually the higher income people that are buying the Gucci handbags and the Rolex watches. They're gonna do all right regardless of what the economy does, unless there's a depression.
Yeah, maybe in a conventional recession, but this one so far you're seeing a bunch of white collar jobs being cut, and then compare that to the adding of jobs in the manufacturing sector, like car manufacturing, for example. I think the typical playbook is kind of a little bit screwed up here.
Well, the big thing is also that the U.S. is lifting their emergency declaration on pandemic in May. I think it's going to be lifted, so travel is going to get a lot easier just in time for the summer travel season. And I think a lot of countries that are depending on foreign tourism for revenue, for foreign currency, are going to be advertising the hell out of travel opportunities and giving good deals. And I think this summer is going to be unless there's another pandemic or something else pops up. The situation in the Ukraine notwithstanding, I think you're going to see a lot of travel in other parts of the world opening up this year.
Yeah, I mean, at least in the U.S., like I think this whole we're easing the COVID restrictions, we're taking them off now. Like people already did that in their minds mentally, like they're already there. So like you're already at peak travel, I think. And if duty free is not super profitable in that context, I'm not sure when they will be.
Not even close. There's a big difference between operating under emergency pandemic conditions than there are when it's totally lifted. There's still a lot of hoops that you have to jump through, and there's still a lot of people that are reluctant to travel because of all those hoops. And once the emergency declaration is lifted, I think it's going to change the ballgame with travel.
I don't know, dude. I don't know if you've been in an airport recently, but it's packed. It's packed.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah, and it's
that's what I'm saying. So if at that level, duty free is still like a pretty unattractive proposition as far as I can tell from the chart. I mean,
they're already up. They were down at around $2 during the height of the pandemic. They were as low as $2, so they're already up like 70-80% from their low from the pandemic. And before the COVID hit, they were up around the $10 range. So I'm looking at possibly getting 100% gain on the stock if they go back up to $10. But the downside risk is minimal. They have good fundamentals. Their downside risk seems to be limited, and I see upside potential with lifting the restrictions on COVID.
But this is only for international travel, right? Correct me if I'm wrong.
Right. Yeah.
Sorry to interrupt, but I have breaking.
You broke up there, Skull.
Sorry to interrupt. I have breaking news. Michael Berry deleted his Twitter.
The sell tweet or the whole account?
The whole account.
But then he came back on. He came back on and he said cover last night, like at 7.
He said cover? Holy shit.
Yeah, he went from sell to cover. Daddy Powell took his lunch, I guess.
And then tomorrow he's going to post calls and say they were all meant to be together.
Sell covered calls. Gotcha.
Quick long call, maybe short. I don't know what it'll do today, but CVE was indicated as a buy by JP Morgan this morning.
Cenovus Energy Company in Canada. It is traded on the New York as well. CVE. Been pretty volatile. You can definitely trade intraday if you wanted.
Spotify keeps running. Looks like it's at 121. I'm still holding on. I took some profits yesterday, but majority position still there.
Oh no, I'm gonna be sick today.
Yeah, back to the human genome. About the duty-free stuff. That I just want to be clear. Like that's usually just for international travel, right? Like people only go to those stores if they have.
Well, that's usually it's like Chinese people or
Yeah, it's
Koreans
international travel.
or anyone international, like from Spain or Europe.
Yeah, it's
You can
international.
only shop there if you're flying international. You have to be leaving the country.
That's correct. And the plane, like when you buy them they also do it on the plane, and then they do it at international terminals at airports. But you can only do it international because duties are charged when goods are imported. So the whole idea behind a duty-free shop is you can avoid the import duties on products before they get into the country. And there's a limit to how much you can buy too, which is another like sales gimmick. So like you can only buy so many liters of liquor. You can only buy X number of dollars of goods. And then, like, if you've ever traveled internationally, they have those forms that you fill out, like how much you purchased in the country and stuff like that. And because they can charge you duties on some of those things when you come back into the country. And the whole idea behind a duty-free shop is if you shop there, they have some kind of agreement where you don't have to pay those duties when you come back to your country or leave the country.
Yeah, I was gonna say usually this includes Americans too. So like if you travel overseas, whether you go to like an international European or Asia airport, once you fly back into America, you can buy some stuff before you touch down, and it's duty free because you're technically a tourist. But yeah, I digress.
By the way, market open and it's pretty green. Google up massive.
Well, when
Hey,
he said advertising for travel,
Where's
thinking, ooh, that's good.
where's our Facebook buddy? Did he get his good execution price on his calls? You still in here, Facebook guy?
I'm officially green on my Google shares. Holy
I was
crap.
waiting for you, Scald. I was going to say, good call on Matic, buddy.
Well, waiting for
I
that
think that was
guy.
you know.
Yeah, the cryptos are pumping, and Bitcoin hit 24,000 overnight.
Yeah, I saw that.
GME up 4%. Google's now up 6%. And now I'm stuck with a dilemma. Do I hold and turn it into a boomer share, or do I sell?
Well, think about it this way: here, the bottom's end, and this is the start of the next bull market, or this is the final pump before the final dump. One of those two things is true. You figure it out.
Gee, thanks for that dilemma.
Jeez, natty gas is like so low. What the hell?
You gave him two choices. He simplified it to a point.
It's like A or B.
I bought some 412 puts to go with my 409 theory. Dips down back close to 409 by noonish, and then we shoot up. But who knows? I also have some others going the other way to cover me. But I did the 409 theory because I think we retest that before earnings this afternoon, and then tomorrow is a moonshot. But who knows? I have been wrong before, and I hope to be right 51% of the time.
There is a strong case for Okta beating earnings in March. I'm just saying that. We had a huge gap up this morning.
You mean reports results? They don't make money. They're still make. Well.
Yes, reports. Yes. Reporting March 1st or 2nd, one or the other.
So speaking of being wrong, I didn't buy or sell anything, but we've had some lengthy conversations about Wingstop, and I and others have poo-pooed the PE ratio. It's over 100 now. It's been running since we all said that's a silly stock. I didn't know if anyone pulled the trigger on any instruments, but I did not. But I thought it looked horrible, and you can look at the chart from the last week or two. It's gone up, up, up.
Is anyone playing Starbucks today? They're reporting after market closes.
It's a pretty solid brand. They'll probably beat, but I don't know what their expectation is. The local Starbucks here have been packed this winter. Every time I drive by, busy.
This is interesting. I've never seen this before. I think I have an error on my Rumble. Not too surprising.
Alphabet reported earnings recently, didn't they?
That's this afternoon.
That's probably why there's a run up. So I think
No,
I
it's
should
more so
hold.
it's more so from Meta. If Meta's doing okay, usually they're going to do okay too because they have some of the same ad revenue.
So today it's sympathy, and then tomorrow, hopefully, it won't be syphilis.
Yeah, prove it. Put up or shut up is kind of what this afternoon is for them.
There was a report that Amazon made no profits, but its stock is soaring. What's going on?
They've got earnings too. Apple, Alphabet, and Amazon all report after. So
there was
Wait,
news that Amazon was going to have no profits.
I thought Amazon was the fourth.
Maybe it'll come out after maybe it'll dump after the fourth.
So if you're talking about February 4th, that's a Saturday.
No, I just looked and confirmed. It's today too. So yeah, I think Apple originally was going to go yesterday on the 1st, but they moved it because it was on the FOMC day. But now, yeah, you've got 3 of them reporting this afternoon.
Oh yeah, hopefully that Meta guy's cleared out. He's had a few minutes now where it's still staying up. It's not like it immediately gave up its gains, so I still think it'll settle around 171 to 174 today. But I could be wrong. We'll see what happens.
Carvana halted.
Down, right? Halted down. No.
That, sir, would make sense.
I thought it would open up at 20 today. It opened up at 1743 and shot up to 1850. I'm definitely looking for the 20s now. Next week, 20s to 18s hanging around for a few I want to say at least 4 or 5 days. I'm not buying my puts on them until the 17th, guys. They report on the 22nd. That gives me 5 days before, and I'm going to buy them for about a month after because there's no way they show $500 million loss and people still buy in unless the FUD spreads like it always does for memes.
Does anyone remember like last month when they were like $5?
They were at 3. They were in the 3s. And I honestly thought about buying shares and I didn't do it. Just based on the theory they might go up to 6 or 9. I'm like, it's not worth it for that. I'd rather play 0 DTEs and make that 100, 200%. Oh boy, was I wrong.
So I don't
Is
think I'm gonna
anyone watching
play.
SoFi rip right now? It's up 6%.
I don't think I'm gonna play 0 DTEs today until I get this thing on my Robinhood account resolved. This is kind of weird. I've never seen this before. It says you have a pattern day trade restriction, but I have over the 50 in there required. It's got to be, I don't know. He doesn't want to have to reach out to their support.
It means that you've done day trading more than 5 buys and sells, or sells and then buybacks within a day, within a week. I think
But
there's
I
a
have over the
maximum of
50.
5.
I have over the 50,000 required, or is it 25? But I've got over 50.
Schwab is 25. I'm not sure what it is with
Is it
Robinhood.
25? All right.
Yeah.
Either
For
way,
Schwab.
like I've never seen this before.
Do you? I mean, it sounds stupid, but do you have to manually activate it? You call them. You know, they don't actually just look at your account balance, which is a simple spreadsheet thing.
I don't know. I've literally, I don't want to I shouldn't have this, but like if I don't want to try to trade today, man, I'm gonna have to call them. You know what? I've traded on TD Ameritrade since 2009, and this has never happened with them. I'll just say that about Robinhood. They also never turned off a buy button at TD Ameritrade. Just throwing that one out too.
That was their bosses doing. That wasn't them directly. They were just doing what they were told.
Charles Schwab is buying TD, right? This year.
Yeah, I think at the end of the month it's going to switch over. I was on it when it was called Think or Swim before TD bought it, and then TD bought it. I think in 2010, maybe 2010 or 2011 they bought it.
I was talking to a representative from TD, and they were telling me the only reason Charles Schwab bought TD is because of the software for TOS. That's it. That made their decision in just buying all of TD, just for the software, pretty much.
Yeah, I can't recommend Think or Swim enough. It's great.
So Ape is up 13% today.
And that notice is gone from my Robinhood.
AMC is up 8%.
It must have been like a glitch or something. I don't know.
Who said Carvana's halted? I see it trading.
It was a temporary halt.
Yep, it's touching $20. I don't think the volume is crazy though, so it's kind of like one of those things where it's I don't know. I'm gonna watch it over the next few hours. If the volume decreases big time, I may try to get in some puts a little early, but I'm gonna do them for end of May or end of March, middle April.
Holy shit. SoFi just jumped over $8 and then back to $8. It's down to $7.98 now, but it just jumped. It's back to $8 again. Holy shit. It's up 8%. It's fucking ridiculous right now.
NVOS is pumping a little bit, but still a garbage stock. Still playing in the garbage bin with that one. It doesn't even have options on it. You gotta just buy shares. It's stupid. Dude, Carvana just resolved a scald squiggle at open. Holy shit. I didn't call it a scald
Fucking
squiggle.
way.
Other people was calling that. I just noticed this pattern that would occur. A candlestick pattern that would occur right before a stock would hit a new intraday high. And it seems to be pretty consistent. I need to do back testing on that, see how long that's been going on and on how many securities.
What does that show? A lot of volume and buys when you see that? What's in that pattern?
Yeah, so it's basically two green candles that are overlapping, and then it's two red candles that are overlapping, and then it's a spinning top. And then after the spinning top, whatever was happening in the 15 minutes prior happens more. It like accelerates in volume, like you're saying. So like if it was going up and you see this pattern, it starts going up faster. And if it was going down and you see the pattern, it starts dropping even faster.
So what's happening? Like a lot of buys and then like stop, or the automatic rules to sell and then more buys and then it just takes off? What are we seeing when that happens? Do you know?
Yeah, I mean that's
more
like what would make it a pattern over and over again? Something's behind it, right? Making it the same pattern. I mean, it's not just people buying and selling randomly. But
yeah, you're right. It's
I'm just curious. I'm just
algorithm.
interested. I mean, it doesn't. You don't need to know. I'm just like.
No, you're right. I'm like, that's why I need to back test it more and like try to figure out what's at like the numbers that are driving this. Because like if this is like
And rules, right? Like algos and even rules people set up for like to sell or stop loss. Your personal, simple rules, not just complicated algos, right?
right, yeah, and I think it's all converging to cause this pattern. Because this behavior has been consistent across multiple securities, and I've even seen it happen in ETFs, which like it really shouldn't be happening there. Because
The key might
obviously
be to look
they
at the
have-
red. When the red, when it's
Right.
going down, what's happening with the red? Is that sells, right? But who's selling?
Right. Yeah, it's got to be like some kind of like profit take or something. Like maybe it's like a limit order to take profits, and that's causing it to stall out. And then it burns through all the limit orders, and then it just starts rocketing again. And during that period, maybe it's just building demand.
I would guess
Right.
that too, but I would be absolutely wrong because I don't know shit about it.
Yeah, and it's halted again just on the price volatility down this time. It was halted down.
That's a cool pattern. No.
So glad I sold those calls.
I want to talk to a buddy of mine about it. He's an algo trader. Like he does a lot of algorithmic trading. He probably will be able to give me more information than, or at least know where to look better than I do.
Yeah, I would be interested to hear about that.
Like a quant? Is he a quant? Quantitative?
He was a quant like 15 years ago. Now he's in a different role now. He's at a hedge fund now, but I'm gonna ask him about it.
Do options have those rules set in? Like, can you set in rules on? I guess you can do stop. You could set up rules on options, right? So that they would do stuff like that.
Yeah. I mean, you can always set like limit orders and stuff, things like that, and trailing stop losses. You can even set up trailing stop losses on your options plays, all that kind of stuff. So that could be a factor.
It'd be so cool to see exactly what's going on behind the scenes.
I appreciate all the nerd talk, being a nerd.
What else we got pumping today, guys? We've called out a few things. We heard SoFi, or Carvana.
Yeah, speaking of, SoFi just hit 808. Now it's at 809. It's almost up 10%. This is fucking ridiculous.
Mass, loaded up on some calls just for you, man.
How's Lucid doing, Matt? Oh, you're a Lucid bull.
Yeah, Lucid. Hold on, let me check out my call. It is still down 4 cents, but Lucid's up 3%. So, yeah. Or I'm down $4 on my position.
Oh, that's not so bad.
Yeah, what are your
Sorry.
calls? Oh, sorry, go ahead, Opinion.
No, go ahead. What are your calls?
Oh, it's a $35 strike call dated for March 3rd. And I got 4 contracts at 11 cents a piece, and right now they're worth 10. So not too bad for doubling down yesterday at 8 cents.
Yeah, that always gets me. It's like, you know, I was saying, and Peter Lynch says, and Luce was saying on his talk, you know, if a trade's going bad, bail on it. But at the same time, there is the art of the double down, where if you think your thesis is still true, and you can get in cheaper, you know. And
Yeah, because if hedgies can do it, I don't see why we can't do it.
Or half bail, right? Just sell half of it, and then see which way it goes.
True, you can de-risk, right? Just sell half, and you got less capital risk in that position. Good point. Dude, I found out. I saw this thing, like, not to get too much into crypto, but I saw this thing where this guy was doing wash trading, and what he did was he wash traded. He basically was selling stuff back to himself at cost. And you're like, well, why the hell would you do that? Well, this particular exchange gave you a token every time that you traded. So the group of 70 wallets made 30 million in wash trades. They ended up netting $700,000 in profit off the 30 million in wash trading. And functionally, they had no capital at risk because they were literally just buying and selling stuff back to themselves. I'm jealous.
Oh, I can reiterate a call we got on January 27th. Archer Aviation is up 10% today.
Holy shit! Siri hit a 52-week low of 557. Sirius XM. Fuck. What the fuck is this? Why is Tartstrology this fucking strong with me? What am I doing right?
Was there news or just the chart?
It's just the
They
chart.
had
I'm
bad
looking at it
earnings.
right now. It was down to 548. Like, what the fuck?
What, you predicted that? You predicted a drop?
550. I called 550 puts.
Awesome.
Is someone able to explain what exactly a put is?
Oh no.
Put is the
Oh
option
no.
to buy a contract at a price lower than what the current value of the stock is. So you're basically betting that the price is
I
going
think
to
he's
go
kidding.
down.
So is that the same thing as a short?
Essentially.
It's a safer method of shorting.
Gotcha.
Yeah, it's a safer method. Whereas with
Because
the
they're
short-
covered.
Yeah, with the short, you're actually borrowing the shares like from your broker. So there's a little bit of a different risk there.
A lot more expensive because you have borrowing and carrying cost on top of what you can make on the downside.
Yeah, the risks are different, but the bet is the same.
With the
Yeah,
carry, does the carry rate flex with the Fed funds rate? Like, are borrow rates higher right now?
Yes, is a short answer. Yeah. Everything's more expensive to borrow, including in the market.
If you take out a loan on your account, a margin loan, are those rates up too, or is it still
Bigly, big time. I'm seeing 7% margin rates at the lowest, where before I think it was like the floor was like what 2.5%, maybe 2% during 2020, 2021.
Are those variable? Like if I'd have taken one out in 2021, would it be up to 7 now, or would it be?
Oh yeah, oh yeah, they fuck you right hard. Yep.
So those are permanently be variable. Okay.
Again, everything costs more to borrow right now across all the credit. Buy here, pay here to.
Except for mortgages, except for fixed rate mortgages.
Yeah, they're a little bit down, but overall they're up over year.
No, but I'm saying like, yeah, like it depends when you bought, or when you took on your mortgage, right? If it's fixed.
True.
Well, we're talking about like mortgage rates now, current.
So I actually had a quick question on that. So everybody's like, the market's doing the thing, it's going down, right? But are we expecting people to stop paying their mortgages, or are we simply expecting the profits to decrease as the rates adjust? Because if we're still expecting confidence in people being able to pay for their mortgages, I feel like we can still go pretty bullish on something like that, even as the market starts to slow down. I don't know. Thoughts?
So the two debates is because obviously mortgage rates are going up, so people are buying or are applying for fewer mortgages, and then you have the discussion is or is not the recession canceled? If we do go into a recession, you're going to see an increase in people not being able to pay for their mortgages, which means more defaults and more foreclosures, which is bad for the banks. So that's the kind of two different things going on in the mortgage market.
And you are starting to see people miss their car payments more. You are seeing the overall credit balance of Americans go up, down. So banks are holding more reserves, which means they're expecting more bad loans going forward. Or hopefully they have them. Go ahead.
I would like to interject real quick. The Fed does actually track saving rates and credit card balances, and they publish that data for free. So you can see one of the things that's happened is there was this huge spike in savings rate to a new all-time high during COVID relief, where everyone was getting these relief checks, and like a historically high number of Americans were saving. Going back to, I think their data goes all the way back to the 30s or 40s on this. It was insane. Like it's like the highest savings rate in decades and decades. But what we see now is that's bled down, and we started to see credit card rates spike. So less Americans have savings, more Americans have credit card debt. Looking out farther, will that eventually lead to an insolvency where they stop paying their mortgage? It's possible, right?
Real quick, I have a counterpoint just because I have to go to a meeting soon. But one of the things I noticed being in my 20s and surrounded by people in my 20s that are my friends is quite a number of people my age and a little bit older are hanging on to a lot of cash, waiting for that right moment. There's a considerable number of people that have delayed when they could have bought and have delayed, and a lot of people are ready to pounce. So as you have people not being able to pay your mortgages, a lot of people are ready to pick up the slack.
Just go and I posted a link in the comments. It's posted by the Federal Reserve Bank of New York. They published this quarterly report about balances of households, credit scores, who holds mortgages. They got everything parsed down by age group. You can take a look. And unfortunately, this is not a repeat of 2008, man. The average credit score of the mortgage holder these days is considerably stronger than what you're considering.
Well, that bodes well for me, who trades well and makes a lot of money with mortgage stocks. People that are holding a lot of mortgage securities. Because I'm not, I'm confident people are not gonna. The housing market's not gonna completely collapse.
So what are you holding, like NLY agency kind of thing? They've had a pretty nice run up.
Pretty much, yeah. NYMT, ARR, stuff like that.
Yeah, I'd check out that link and just keep track of that. Auto loans are defaulting at a greater rate, though.
Did someone just say, unfortunately, this isn't 2008? Did I hear that sentence right?
Yeah,
I may have misspoke. Sorry, guys. I meant fortunately this isn't.
You must have been
Unfortunately, we're not all losing our houses this year.
You must have
I
been.
would say, like, also an interesting thing about 0708 is you would think, like, oh man, I bet the Bears made so much money. Spoiler, they did not. With the exception of a few people, a lot of smart money even left, and you can look at outflows of hedge funds. I've got the data somewhere, but basically 20% of hedge funds in the beginning of the 0708, so like when there was rumors about Lehman Brothers, 20% of hedge funds completely left the market and went basically cash gang. Like they were like, fuck that, I'm out. And by the time Lehman and Bear Stearns resolved, another 40% of them left. So 60% of institutional money was actually being held in cash because they were so uncertain about what was happening in the market. They weren't even like buying puts or short selling. Like they
What a
weren't
bunch
even
of
doing
paper-handed pussies.
right.
We would have lost so much fucking money in 2008 if we were in Wall Street bets then.
Oh,
Amazon.
I was
Or you
trading
would have made a
them.
lot of money. You gotta have the right attitude.
Oh, this
09 was when
entire
I turned
sub.
out.
This entire sub would have had like naked real estate stuff, and all people would be like, "I have 7 homes I'm renting out, guys. It's so good.
600 units. Boom.
I'm a fucking
So,
genius.
so 2008, what would have been the meme stock?
Real estate?
It would have been the Wall
Spotify,
Street
dude.
Bets REIT.
Volkswagen.
Your
Actually,
neighbor's
Shopify, right?
house. Your neighbor's house would have been the meme stock in 2008.
Volkswagen was the meme stock back then, right?
God, I remember that.
Oh, the screen.
You also had Rivet, which is Riviera Tool. That was pretty nuts. You had there was this whole trade on Utz's pretzels. It was an organic pretzel company. I don't understand. It was dumb. They were just dumb. I'd rather not remember that time. I lost my ass learning how to trade options in 2009, just so everybody's aware.
Same.
So
Sorry, you lost your what?
I said I lost my ass learning how to trade options in 2009.
But did you lose your house?
No, I was a college student at the time, but I didn't lose my savings.
So he didn't have a house to lose, but he would have if he did.
I didn't have a house at the time either, and it was real sad seeing all the foreclosures, but I was like, cool.
So since we're talking about debt and savings and blah 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 blah, I brought this up before, but I do think the thing that's going to get people is when student loans come back into play. I think a lot of people have added those payments into their daily spending and are not considering them as they go about their lives, and it's going to be a unfortunate wake-up call for many people when that bill returns.
Or they're just not going to pay it, and then the slabs will go to zero.
No, it's not going to happen.
Yeah, what's going on with that whole fiasco? Because like delinquencies are rock bottom now. If you look at that Fed report.
Well, there was
Well,
like
of course, you're not going to have delinquencies when you're not making them pay their loans.
Right, exactly. So in March, when the emergency measures for COVID expire, we would expect to see in April the student loans happen.
The emergency measure expires in May.
May. Oh, okay. Sorry.
And they're supposed to start payments again in June already. That's
right.
Yeah. So, but again, they've kicked the can so many times. I've said this, and I have a feeling if Biden's still in office, he may still. It's not political. He feels he has the right to do it, to pause payments. This is one of the reasons I think I got burned on SoFi. I kept waiting for that. That's why. Sorry, it invoked so much emotion. damn it, SoFi. I want everyone to go refinance their loans, but they kept not having to make their payment.
If you're looking at playing this, I would recommend the ticker NNI. NINET. Their entire business is servicing federal student loans and private student loans. So they have had some very interesting price movements over the past 2 years, and those price movements have correlated with things like student loan forgiveness. Then student loan forgiveness being repealed caused their stock to drop. Because at first they thought, oh, we're going to be able to book a whole bunch of profits really quickly as the federal government's going to pay us back. Then the stockholders thought, oh, wait, no, that's not happening. A court overturned Biden's ability to do that. So then the stock dropped again. So keep an eye on it. The ticker is NNI, Neutron, Indigo.
I was looking at that chart while you told the story. That was like spot on. I was like, oh, yep, it did go down. Yeah.
Yeah, I've been watching them for a while. Also, of all the payment processors, Discover Card has the largest exposure to student loans. Most of the other credit cards have like no real exposure, but Discover actually has exposure to student loans. And then obviously someone already mentioned SoFi.
Boy, Discover's chart looks a lot like NNI's chart. Like, again, you could probably pick the day, watch the ups and downs.
Yeah, I keep thinking I'm going to make a play on this. And I keep just looking at it and doing more research. I keep not making a play on it, but like I've been watching it for like a while now. So when I figure something out, I'll let everybody know.
You should make that play. Sounds like your subconscious is telling you something.
It is.
I think overall that Biden student loan forgiveness thing is not going to happen, but I also think it's going to take a very long time for it to go through the courts.
Does anybody know when it gets? Oh well, I guess it's working through the courts. I was gonna ask if everybody knows when it's gonna be decided, but I guess we have no idea.
I have a feeling it's going to make it to the Supreme Court. Right now, it's been blocked, and
Yeah, that's
so
what they're saying. The Supreme Court's gonna take a jab at it. See if they do something about it.
well, basically, any time a bunch of states sue the federal government, it's going to make it to the Supreme Court.
Oh, what was with Jerome Powell's speech when he said that we should be increasing the debt ceiling? Isn't that him just basically saying he wants to encourage inflation?
Well, that's him
How could-
saying he wants the government to run because, a government defaulting on its loans is not good for the economy or inflation.
Right, I get that, but coming this from Powell, whose main job is to fight inflation, isn't that I don't know,
Well, that's what I'm
counterintuitive?
saying. Inflation will get markedly worse if the federal government doesn't have money to pay for itself.
Yeah, if the government defaults on a loan, U.S. is going to become the next Venezuela. We're not talking tens or hundreds of percent inflation. We're talking thousands of percent inflation.
Okay, so then Jerome Powell is basically saying, the lesser of two evils, which he wants inflation to run and him fighting at the same time.
If you watch the question, I was watching the Q&A, and if you watch the question, they were basically like, what do you think about the debt ceiling? Should it be raised? He basically was like, it's not my job. That's this, let the policymakers do that. That's them. But yes, he said
Right,
that'd
he
be bad
said
if we
he
didn't
said
make
it's
our
not his job, but he also expanded to that, saying that we should increase it. In the end, he did give his opinion about it.
No,
I don't
all
think
he
he
said
should
was
have.
that. No, that's not what he said. What he said was that the government needs to do its job, and he's kind of washing his hands of that. He said it's not my ball game, but he expects that the Senate or the Congress will do its job and do whatever they need to do to manage their business.
I
So
think when he
if
said, I don't think people saw that as inflationary or him saying that was pro-inflation.
Correct.
Yeah.
so if Congress, let's say Congress does raise it,
They're
I guess
going to raise it. The U.S. is not going to default on their debt, so they're going to raise the debt ceiling. It would be helpful if they also do something about the budget so that we don't keep spending and spending. But the debt ceiling is going to be raised one way or the other. Easy as that.
so. What is or what do you guys think Jerome Powell's only action is when the debt ceiling is raised? He's just
Nothing.
gonna have to sell off more from the balance sheet, right, and raise rates more.
He's supposed to
Or
stay
no?
out of it and let the whatever happens with the debt ceiling take its course.
Yeah, I mean I think the bigger concern from an inflationary standpoint is the challenge with raising unemployment, right? We have a labor rate participation rate that's around 62%. It hasn't been that low since the late 70s, early 80s. And there's no way that you can increase unemployment when the labor rate participation rate is already the lowest it's been in 50 years. I mean, there's few people that can be laid off at this point. And all the people that are being laid off from tech, the non-engineering people that are being laid off from tech should have no difficulty finding a job in this environment, right? So the challenge is going to be increasing unemployment, and then whatever happens with the debt ceiling is going to happen either way.
Gotcha.
Also, I doubt there's much concern about inflationary impacts when the alternative outcome is defaulting on your debt.
Well, that's what I'm saying. I guess I'll pick the lesser of two evils, which is better to raise the debt ceiling then. Or well, like somebody said, he's staying out of it and letting Congress do whatever Congress does. I guess that's what his take was.
I'm not sure there's a direct link with rising interest rates and raising the debt ceiling as a corollary to inflation. I don't think raising the debt ceiling will naturally translate to higher inflation like you're considering.
Correct. The bulk of the GDP and the spending is made up by consumer spending, so that's the big gorilla in the room. Corporations make up consumers make up around 60% of the GDP. Corporations about 20%, and then the rest is government. So, in terms of spending and inflationary pressure, government spending is the least of the concerns. The bigger one is like prices of eggs and beef production. Like somebody mentioned on one of the earlier calls, that cattle farmers are having trouble getting their hands on feedstocks to feed their beef, and they're expecting a low beef supply. So those kinds of things are going to create more inflationary pressures on food and produce than government spending.
Also, not to get political, but let's be real, the debt ceiling never matters until there's I'm sorry, it's going to have to get a little political. Until there's a Democratic president with a Republican House or Senate, and then there's a debt ceiling comment, and then it gets passed, and then it goes away, and no one ever brings it up again. Like, it's the biggest non-issue that tries to get made into an issue.
In 2011, it was an issue. Moody's actually downgraded our credit a few days before they knew we weren't going to pay it when the government did shut down. So that's not good. And the amount of debt that is on the Federal Reserve's balance sheet does matter. And the interest payments that we are creating is putting us up against this debt limit ceiling sooner. So there is some mechanical correlation between the Fed and that, but the Fed's supposed to keep their mouth shut and just let them do it. But there is increasing pressure because of the interest payments we have to make. We have a lot of debt.
I'm not saying that debt is
You
nothing.
think you're
I'm
doing
saying,
bad on your margin account? Just look at how bad we're doing as a country.
I'm not trying to say that the debt itself isn't an issue. I'm saying the notion of like, oh, the U.S. isn't going to raise the debt ceiling and going to eventually default is like one of those issues that comes up a lot and generally doesn't resolve into anything. They just raise.
So if I can
I would
just comment
say
on this, in case anyone doesn't know, back when that vote was happening for Speaker of the House, how it went like longer than it's gone in over 150 years. That whole fight was really about raising the Social Security age. That's what they were fighting about behind the scenes. So essentially, the deal that was made was that like literally any member of the House can essentially call for a vote of no confidence on McCarthy if he does not push through a raising of the retirement age. So if he doesn't fight Biden on this, he's going to lose his seat as speaker. So for anyone who thinks that this isn't going to be a real fight, I assure you it's going to be every bit of a fight as it was in 2011, if not more so.
No, I agree. I think that is the potential problem that we have right now, because a lot of that is known that they've got the kill switch for his House speakership, if you want to call it that. And yeah, it's not just Social Security, Medicaid, and Medicare. They want to cut all the austere programs. So that's why I agree with you. I think it could actually get to that point where it gets just a little uncomfortable.
Just also note that there's a lot of like intergovernment debt where the Fed owes money to itself, essentially, like to the Treasury and other departments like Social Security Trust Fund, etc. So it's not necessarily like debt owed to China, right? So it's like putting money from one pocket into the other.
And that's what they're doing right now. We've technically already hit it. We just have, I think it's like a running almost less than 6 months now. So they're already doing that. Like, that's cool. You don't have to pay me. So I'll carry this forward because I've heard people bring up weed stocks on here before. That's why I was.
Still right.
I know. But for the American ones, they're not going to get any legislation passed. So I would be continuing to be bearish on the American weed stocks.
I think you're shutting down a lot of hope and dreams here in the chat.
Well, looking at the current political situation, they might have a shot in 2028.
Okay.
That's what I mean. Like in the next year to two, it's just not going to happen on the federal level, unfortunately.
I don't know about that. If they want to raise some tax revenue, the weed stocks and drugs are a good way to do it.
Yeah, and
I
they've
think
done
he's
that
talking about
since
the
the Nixon
gridlock.
administration.
You're not getting a Republican House to green light a weed bill. I'm sorry. Like, I think it's stupid too, but it's just not happening, man.
Well, I mean, even if you did get enough Republicans to vote for it in the House, I still don't think you're going to have 10 pro-pot Republicans in the Senate.
Again, everyone's stymied. That's my point, unfortunately. I would love to see it happen, and it should. It's ridiculous it doesn't happen on the federal level, is my personal opinion. But from the money standpoint, yeah, it's paused.
That is a stock that is so steeped in political theater that I don't see it ever doing well for the long term, even past 2028. Maybe 2030, you might have a shot.
Which stock was that?
Mask. You should check
Any
your
U.S. weed stocks.
check your Lucid, buddy. Look at it go.
Mashed, I think Lucid's getting higher than you are.
No, absolutely not. That's not possible.
That's not possible.
But it is up 6%. So if this thing rockets over 1,000%, it will be as dabbed out as me. So Yeah, if it gets that high, yeah, we're there.
Did you close your position on Siri?
I actually, unfortunately, didn't even get in it. I was too late.
Oh no!
It didn't even close, so I'm probably gonna cancel the order because it's too fucking late.
Speaking of weed stocks, yesterday we were at this weed shop and they were like, it's $20 for 10 20 milligram gummies, or it's $10 for 4 50 milligram gummies. And I'm like, bro, I was like talking to my wife. I was like, honey, just buy the $10 bags and we'll just cut them into quarters at home. It's literally the
nibble,
same.
if they're your own, nibble, nibble, nibble. That's all.
Yeah, it's like it's literally the same amount for half the price. Like, buy those.
So I've heard.
But what about the quality? Am I right?
Oh,
or you can be like me, who bought a Rice Krispie from Vegas my first time, and I didn't know they were cut into little squares already. And I decided to eat about 65% of the Rice Krispie. Let me tell you, I felt like I was in a spaceship for the next couple hours.
How long did it take for you to be able to leave your hotel room?
Well, the thing is, I was with some buddies walking around, and I'm not sure if y'all been to Vegas. There's these two weird condos that, if you look at them at a certain angle, they look like they're falling. And I was already, balls to the walls, and I told my buddy, dude, those fucking buildings are falling.
Okay, I gotta know. Was it nighttime? Did you take him at night in Vegas?
Yeah, it was at nighttime. We were walking around the strip.
It's a trail. Did you have the trailing lights? Did you like that? That was probably fun.
Oh yeah, it was. Let's just say Vegas was a good time.
How many hours did it take for that stop sign to turn green?
Yes.
Yes.
Still fucking waiting.
dude, last time I was in Vegas, it was before COVID happened. Haven't been back since. The last time I was there, I got married, so that was pretty wild.
Did anybody see Kathy Wood while they were high?
Did anyone see Jim Cramer on the side of the road with coke up his nose?
They're making a movie about him.
Are they?
No shot. No.
That Cocaine Bear movie. It's based on Jim Cramer's life.
It's Narcos.
It's an AMC exclusive.
He gets super coked up. He goes around chasing people. He screams. It's definitely a Kramer-based movie. It even says based on true events.
Stock.
Dude,
Did anybody see the trailer? The trailer was awesome.
I met this person a while ago who had to have their nose reconstructed because they had done so much coke, and I'm just like, Jesus Christ,
What?
how much coke do you have to do to damage your nose? That's a lot of cocaine.
Like, you have to be
Ask him,
slamming
did
your nose.
he have a set poundage amount or?
Right, it was a woman. Anyway,
It's in
but yeah.
kilos, I think.
Right, I was like, what?
That's what they cut it with.
Just imagine the amount of money she spent on cocaine for her to get her nose reconstructed. Jesus.
So we got this movie coming out where Bear does a bunch of coke. Could you imagine how funny it would be if they did one where Bear did a bunch of weed?
That's a bear's everyday life, man. He just fucking hibernates.
Or eats
Just
a lot of
instead of
food.
it chasing people and trying to eat them, it'd be like, hey man, you got any snacks?
That bear, I've read the story behind it, but that bear was the #1 apex in the entire world for at least a good 30 minutes.
Yeah, I would not want to fight a regular bear, let alone a coked up bear. So
Yeah, there's no blocking.
Sorry, guys. I have to
Bats.
wait. Are they making a Yogi Bear movie? Is that what I heard?
they're making
The
a
Cokie
movie
Bear
about Jim
movie?
Cramer. That's what it is. Yogi Bear movie.
Starting Alex Jones.
I mean, the moment that thing finally gets out and people can get screen images of it and that, it's going to turn to Dream Kramer memes.
Oh, I mean, just think of how many coked up bear memes Opinion is unpopular and the other mods are going to have to screen for our subreddit.
Oh,
They're gonna
thanks
be
for
like-
that. Thank you for giving me that thought.
What is the
no.
ratio at right now? Like 1 DD for every 10,000 memes posted?
It's not that bad.
I try to.
You can post DD here? I had no idea.
I tried once. It told me that my images were lies and deleted it. Very sad times.
It was just like a rocket ship photoshopped onto Bed Bath & Beyond's yearly chart, or
It was an actual chart for a company, and it was like, we detected the letter Z in this. That's a banned ticker. And I was like, what?
Oof. Damn.
On a positive
Opinion, it
note-
sounds like you need to fix Automod.
On a positive note, I guess, Bloomberg's publishing a headline that says U.S. employers announced 100,000 job cuts in January. If you look at the
Yes.
unemployment initial claims for January right now, it's about 183,000. If you add 100,000 to that, take a seasonally adjusted number, that puts us over at least almost 280 that we might be able to see in February, March, which is great. Like
Yes,
signal
talk
for-
to me.
And if that continues, that might loosen some slack in the labor market.
Yeah, but the question is, were those not already factored in? And those job cuts, were they being actually held, or were those open positions that they just decided not to try to fill anymore?
Good question. Good question. So the data is obviously delayed, right? Like if they're publishing the January 28th, that's delayed based on when people file, how long it takes to process the data. So you can almost assume that's still relating to 2-3 weeks out. So I don't know.
But there's also a crap ton of job openings still out there. So those job openings are just going to get filled by the people who are laid off. So it's basically nothing burger.
I don't know what the segmentation's like. They're saying that 41% is that tech. So are the jobs in tech right now, or are those tech jobs basically disappearing, the openings?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of employers have a hard time finding good IT personnel. So that's an example.
Yeah, but they'll have to take pay cuts too, and no one's wanting that right now. Oh, and on the Walmart story with them raising their minimum wage, so the company wide, at least for the United States, the average starting wage will be $17.50 overall. They are also creating some higher paid positions for the auto care centers. So that will eat into their profits. That starts, I believe they said it will start appearing on associates' March 2nd paychecks.
All right, guys, I got to run. See you tomorrow.
So yeah, have a good day. Don't lose too much money.
He said the line.
At least I said a line and not like Kramer did a line.
Bunch of raging anti-Kramites in here, man. Disrespectful.
Jonah Hill would play a good Kramer.
So is the next new move for Bloomberg Huckleberry? I think the next move is to fix your mic. My gosh.
Bird, everything wrong. I checked all the tweets. That's everything they want.
Dude, it sounds like you're like a static TV channel.
Whose mic is that?
So I had to refresh this to get that to go away.
Still there.
Mute everybody.
All right,
Yeah, if you're still getting that.
It's not a
refresh.
person, it's a chat bug. You need to refresh.
Yeah, please refresh the chat. If you're still getting that back feed, please refresh the chat. And to give some insight, I am deciding to double down on my Dole 1250 calls for 217. They finally reached 5 cents, so I'm going to double down and buy 2 more contracts. Hopefully it goes through.
Fruit gang. Oh.
His old Dole.
It's doing pretty well.
My GME calls are just printed now. Nice.
I also doubled down on Sundial, bought 2 more contracts, and brought my cost average down to 0.25 cents per share. They're worth $20 now, so I got a 50% return, or 150% on these calls, but I'm going to still hold them. Well, I'm going to sell half of them. I put in an order to sell 2 of the contracts, but I also put in another order to buy 4 at 2 cents. So hopefully those go through and I make some money.
What do they do?
Oh, Sundial is I'm a big Sundial guy because they are in my opinion, the best foreign weed company because of the acquisitions that they've made. They've set themselves up to enter the U.S. for when federal legalization happens. I'm kind of repeating a lot of stuff that I've said here on the chats before. So if you want some DD on Sundial, please look into them yourselves, look into their acquisitions, and you'll see why I'm so bullish on them.
You're not worried about all the competitors, though, in the weed sector? A while ago, I had a YOLO play on Tilray puts, and unfortunately, a few hours after I bought the puts, Biden released his announcement regarding forgiving some low-level criminal charges and whatnot regarding, a matter of months ago, and that caused the entire weed sector, Canopy Growth, Kronos Group, Hexo Corp, and a whole bunch of these other companies to skyrocket. But I was basing it off of the more or less the fact that in some western states in the U.S., marijuana state sales have started to slow and plateau in some cases. It's not been like a hockey stick growth nonstop. In addition to the fact that the barrier to entry is not, that high, it's really just like, do you have the money for it? A lot of these companies don't have that much intellectual property. It's more so just, a question of the funding for operations, which, don't get me wrong, is expensive, but there's just so many weed competitors. I just don't see how. And going back to how people were talking about the House and the Senate probably not passing any pro-weed legislation in the next couple of years, aren't you worried about those signs?
Not really when it comes to Sundial, because they do have, if you look at their acquisitions, they acquired Alcana, which is profitable enough to keep them going, even if legalization doesn't occur. So out of all of the foreign marijuana stocks, I'm bullish on Sundial because they can maintain a level of profitability even without legalization. So that's the reason why I'm bullish on them, because I know they're going to continue to kick the can, and until they finally legalize it, there's not going to be a better play. And honestly, I think this is the play for when legalization finally does occur, because they'll be the first foreign entity to enter the market, so they'll be the first to get cash flow generated. So that's my thesis on Sundial, at least.
What do you think of, have you been following Compass Pathways and Thai Life Sciences? There's a few other companies that are also in the space of, what's the word I'm looking for? Hallucinogenics, or not hallucinogenics, but psychoactive
Psychedelics.
drugs that could be applied to various medical purposes. In Compass Pathways case, they developed a crystalline form of psilocybin that has been, interestingly, they've been very careful in setting up a whole bunch of partnerships with the universities across the country and trying to establish a better image, surrounding the use of the drug and whatnot, in addition to a whole study that's kind of ongoing. But what do you think of those companies? Do you think that, as soon as the day comes when they do get some FDA phase 3 approval, it'll skyrocket, or maybe like possible acquisition down the road since market caps aren't crazy, possibly by one of the big guys?
I think everybody wants to do that.
It will take a long time for those type of companies to catch up.
Is it like a party?
Thank you for the brief reggaeton. We appreciate it.
Here, have some more of it.
So just because we're talking about cocaine
Oh,
and
no más,
mushrooms
por favor.
and weed,
Mi amigo, no más.
Thai Life Sciences is a European company that is different to Compass Pathways, and the main differentiating factor is they have like 9 drugs that they are going for, but none of them are as far down the road as Compass Pathways. Anyway, I was just curious what you guys thought about the psychoactive drug potential.
Yes, to psychedelics.
Yeah, everybody wants to do LSD.
Yeah, I'm a bull on pot because I'm a user of it. I don't use the other recreational drugs, the harder ones, so I don't invest in them because I don't know about them personally. So if I don't know about it personally, I'm not going to invest in it. I have to do enough of the due diligence process to be invested.
Mass Gamer, I got you. I've done my due diligence on the harder stuff.
I mean, come on, man.
There you
Basically,
go.
every drug's a recreational drug in California.
No, you're thinking of Oregon, bro. It's weed that's recreational out here. Weed, like
I mean,
meth
yes,
is
but you also have the
recreational
fact
over in
that they're all
Oregon.
decriminalized to it. It's basically a misdemeanor in California, so it's like the worst you get's a ticket.
so
Matt,
again,
Yeah, you
that's
get a
so-
ticket.
so again, what
You don't get
possible
a slap on the wrist like you do in Oregon. You get a fucking ticket.
what possible path is there for any type of federal approval? Because that's what all this hinges on, is federal approval. It doesn't matter if states move;
Exactly.
it needs federal approval. Because I've said this before, even if it's legal in your state, if your job has any connection to the federal government, be it through grants or whatever, you cannot use it. You will lose your federal funding. You will be fired.
And hospitals too, any of the medical areas too, they still drug test you even if you're an independent contractor. Same with military. There's a lot of not having that federal approval really carries a large cloud.
So to answer the question, the only way I see for a potential path for federal legalization and all these other different things that need to happen is if by some miracle the Democrats are able to control all 3 chambers with a supermajority in the Senate.
Hey, Latter-day, you're nearby me. You know anybody?
Who sells the stuff or what?
Just fucking around.
Psychedelics have been shown to cure PTSD in combat veterans, so that's the angle that companies like Compass and Ati are trying to take right now.
Yes, but understand, the government is slow, and like intentionally slow. It's going to take forever. A lot of those people sit in those jobs because they don't have to do anything. It will be slow.
And just so you get a concept of just how slow things are, there's been a federal report that recommended decriminalization and legalization of marijuana since the Nixon administration.
Well, so I think we have to think about that, right? Like, I think it all comes down to how much money is involved with it being illegal. And I don't know that we have the scope of that, but I think someone probably does have the scope of that. And I think as long as those numbers, lean on one side or the other, we're just going to live in the world we live in.
The closest, honestly, I can think of to the federal government actually moving in any direction was removing like lifetime bans employment for using harder drugs and changing it to 10 years because they couldn't hire IT under their old rules.
Yeah.
Well, one possible way to do it, maybe judiciously, is suing the government for medical malpractice and having it go to the Supreme Court. The U.S. has a patent on marijuana as a pharmacological substance. It's for
It's a
medical
class.
treatment.
Yeah, it's a class 1, so you can't do
Yeah.
any research by law. Yep.
And you can, so that they have a patent on it for marijuana for medicinal purposes, but then they're preventing people from having access to it. So technically, you could sue the government for medical malpractice because they're not allowing you to use this medicinal substance, and it's needed. It's required. So you could have a law. Go ahead.
The problem with that is you actually have to get the government's permission to sue the government.
It's not wrong. Also, the court cases would take years to process.
True.
I can almost see a better route being restraint of trade. Saying like, hey, this is a violation of interstate commerce. Individual states are allowing it. Why don't you allow it federally, right?
It's the money. I think if you went
that
after
would
the
go into a really weird legal loophole rabbit hole thing because it was illegal federally before the states quote unquote legalized it. So here's the thing: is theoretically you could have the DEA busted in every dispensary in every legal state, and they can legally take all your stuff and put you in federal prison.
Don't worry, guys.
Yeah,
they're not going to do that to you.
They don't do that.
They're not, but that's the thing.
I
So
mean, as long
there's
as,
going to be your
as long as they get
counterpoint.
their cut, they're not going to do it.
No, but
I'm just saying that's going to be the counterpoint of trying to do a lawsuit against the violation of interstate commerce lines. So because of the fact that it's still illegal and the government could theoretically anytime just go in and bust down the door and ruin everyone's day, I don't see that being able to go forward as well, especially when you have a 6-3 conservative Supreme Court majority.
I think the long story short is there's really no path forward that isn't going to take years with like multiple S's. So if you're investing now, you're essentially saying, I'm willing to wait this out for quite some time. And I think this is as low as it's going to be for quite some time.
Yeah, Rad's completely right there. Is you're looking at a decade or more.
Now on to more immediate things. Ape is up 10%, and that's got a vote only a month away. So if you want to wait 10 years for weed stocks, you got to be all about waiting just a month.
Did you get back in, Rad? I thought you sold your position on Ape.
I'm still gonna bring it up, but no, because I know the rules. I sold, and then they announced the date, and it rocketed. So if I buy, it's gonna go back to $1, and they're gonna cancel the vote. I don't want to do that to y'all.
Is AMC up also? Because AMC was also up this morning before I left my office.
They're both up about the same amount. Ape's up like 9, AMC's up 8, so they're just following each other stupidly.
Matching, love it.
I was really hoping it would shoot down after Powell spoke, and then I could get back in, but it doesn't look like it's going to be nice to me. But hey, anyone who is still in at this point, you've got to be making some good money, unless you bought it when like they first announced.
Oh no, it's It's looking nice on my portfolio.
I haven't looked at it since market open, but I was trying to find like the furthest out $1 puts on Carvana, and I think the ones in April were selling at $10 a contract. And then it was weird because the week before they didn't have any $1 puts or anything for it.
The play on that might be to sell covered calls or covered cash secured puts rather. If the premiums are that juicy.
I just don't think there is a play, even with how good the premiums are. Like, you're taking such a risk to get assigned on it and have it, like, go away. I don't know, maybe it's just me, but I know this is Wall Street Bets, but I feel like sometimes the best play when things do that type of stuff is to just not play it and be glad you got to keep your money.
But in order for them to completely go away, they would have to go bankrupt first, and that's going to take a while before they completely go away.
Probably going to take a while, but who knows, right? I mean, it could just take one Bloomberg article mistakenly saying that they're going bankrupt tomorrow and the whole thing crashes.
BBBY didn't.
Or maybe they make their interest payment by accident. No, that's not going to happen. It would have to be an accident. Oh, did we actually? Oh, we needed that money for other stuff. I'm sorry.
It won't take as long as weed getting legalized, but it'll take a long time for bankruptcy proceedings to occur and everything else.
They could always pull a GameStop and just stop paying their vendors and declare that they're profitable now. Oh, I'm sorry.
I got a meeting, guys. I'll see you later.
So that's where Elon got that idea. He just stopped paying rent, and he was like, "Twitter's making money now."
Hey, if you have no expenses, then all your gains are pure profit. It's huge brain play.
Hey guys, I wanted to chime in on that mushroom talk. So psilocybin mushrooms, they've got a lot of like medical uses because the it allows your brain to have plasticity. So it's been shown to cure depression for months at a time with a single dose. It's been shown to help PTSD. There's some extreme cases of solving Tourette's and stuttering. And then but the problem is you can grow these things in a closet. And so they don't want to take it from a Schedule 1 drug, which is the top tier, all the way down to a medical use because you can literally grow it yourself. Republicans don't want this. Democrats don't want this. And most important, because Big Pharma doesn't want this. So if you're planning on this thing, if you're planning on mushrooms becoming legalized soon, and it would be a huge thing if there was a company that had the monopoly on a class 1 drug and could sell it under medical licensing and have the patents for whatever therapies or fake version of it that they could get their hands on. But I just don't see it happening in the near term because it's such a threat to Big Pharma. The biggest one, though, is psychosomatic diseases. So that's where people actually don't have, it's all in their head. They have pain in their head. And usually that's a symptom of pain, taking long exposure to painkillers, because your body starts thinking that it's hurt, so that you take the drug or you crave the drug and you want to get it. And they've shown that there is an effective that psilocybin can effectively cure. I say that loosely. Cure your brain of these psychosomatic diseases. So it's a huge threat to pharmaceuticals. It's super cheap to grow. It grows in the dark and dirt and wood chips and shit. And it's the stigma around it is a Schedule 1 drug. It took marijuana 100 years to get back into the public, and it's only in a few states still. So the fact that if you think that they're gonna just flip on mushrooms with all this stuff, it's a kind of a long shot, or at least you're gonna have to wait a long time. That's all I wanted to say.
On mushrooms, you don't really I don't even know if you really need to have it legalized, though. What you need to do, I think, on that one to play is to look for the people that sell the growing supplies.
Where can I get the mushrooms?
You can literally find these mushrooms on any in any major city in wood chips. You like the thing is they can't stop them from growing. They're like well, it's a fungus, right? So like they just pop up no matter like when people take mushrooms, right, and they wipe their pants, those spores they get on wood chips and then they just start growing and they lay dormant. They can lay dormant for years, and then they just start popping up. So they have to they're constantly spraying for fungicide, and it's a joke. It's almost like it's like marijuana. Marijuana is a weed. It grows in the gutter. It'll grow. You cannot stop it. It's just a hardy thing. So, anyways.
No, but who's selling it? Where can I buy some?
DM me.
In Oregon.
There's an app called
Find your own plug, bro.
In Minecraft.
There's an app called Craigslist and an app called Whisper and an app called literally Facebook Marketplace. You can buy them.
Oh, bro.
FBI, open up.
So even if you did legalize it, and even if somebody did have the patent for drugs, they could be undercut by people growing them in their houses. You know,
And unlike weed, they take a lot less room to grow, and they don't have the smell. You can't smell them.
Well, what you do is there is a way. Yeah, there's a way that you can grow without them to smell. What you do is, you know what? There's just trust me.
We've moved pretty far off stocks right here. Let's go ahead and see how.
Yeah, let's not get this talk banned.
If you can find it on Facebook Marketplace, then calls on Facebook.
Wow, Lucid is now up almost 9%.
And here I thought we were getting a bit risky going into reselling Rolexes yesterday.
What? That's just trade, my friend. That is just trade.
That was that arbitrage. That was an interesting conversation. I came in on the end of that. I wish I would have heard the whole thing, but that was pretty interesting. The Rolex arbitrage play.
Does it include the Bahamas? Because I've been to the Bahamas.
No, it actually makes a lot of sense from what I heard.
It's a weird thing where Rolex intentionally makes their watches hard to get and creates waiting lists, so you can like resell them if you go on the waiting list. It seems cool until you realize like all it's going to take is for Rolex to be like, we're not doing waiting lists anymore, and then you're going to immediately be like, and it's worthless.
I sold jewelry for a while. It's just interesting. There's definitely a market. Sorry, Skull.
Oh no, sorry, I had my mic.
Yeah, I think this is the Rolex artificially inflating the supply or deflating the supply. Sorry.
Let's call that a thinly traded market because they make so few, right?
Calls on Costco. I'm sitting at my local Costco gas station right now. They're expanding the number of lanes. They got construction crews expanding the number of lanes at their gas stations. Nice.
Nice. My GME calls are in the money.
There is a wall and an end. A wall ends.
That was profound.
You spend 30 minutes talking about drugs, you'll wonder what happens to the chat. Y'all brought this on yourselves.
That was Chat GPT.
Someone dosed Chat GBT? What?
HUH question mark. Huh?
It's Chat GPT in the
Nice.
chat.
GME is up.
Holy shit.
GME is up 10%.
Holy shit, Scald. SoFi just completed a Scald squiggle and it's on its way up. It's at 822. 823.
800, 104 chicken nuggets is not the limit. 412 is the limit.
All right, mods, can we move on from this? It's not
Opinion, is
entertaining.
this visual mod? It's just visual mod. Like it's
Yeah, guys.
We have an imposter.
I'm pretty sure.
Content dash ad 81.
I can certify that this is a Scald squiggle.
I'm pretty
And
sure
it
he
do
was
go.
speaking French Canadian.
Nice.
Oh, Quebecois? Quebecois.
Opinion, can you translate? Did that just all mean AMC to the moon?
La Luna.
Well, I'm out, y'all. It's 11 o'clock. I'll see y'all later.
All right.
Oh, sorry about that, guys.
Oh.
I could not translate. I just couldn't talk for a little bit.
I wasn't really sure. I was like, should I ban this person? I was like, why were they invited up? I don't know.
Oh, I ended up just moving them down. So it's a little bit entertaining.
It was definitely entertaining.
But I couldn't talk for a little bit. So, and it's French, not Quebecois. Thank you very much.
Oh, is it? Let's see.
No, I mean the only difference is like Quebec French is all a little bit.
Or
A lot
is
of
it
it's
Je
slurred.
m'appelle croissant?
Oh, wait.
Isn't it Quebecois? Schwaz?
Quebecois. God, no, please. Okay, you know what? You make a good point. It's about time that we end this chat. Thanks, everyone.
Thanks, Opinion. Great day today.
See y'all.
Have a good one, everyone.
Yeah,
Peace.
take care, everyone. Don't lose too much money.
Oh,
Although,
that
honestly,
person was a plant by Opinion to get this chat to stop, huh? Nice job. I'm allow it. That was a good job by you.
yeah, it's all part of my master plan to have worse calls. But yeah, don't don't lose too much money, which will be hard given that markets are up like 1.5% and literally everything is green. Don't lose too much money, and we'll see you all tomorrow for Friday, last day of the week. We've got a couple more earnings this week and even more next week, so tons of stuff to look out for. All right, see you tomorrow.